Did I break the disc? Oh. I don't even know what to say as I get back into this series. And at first, I would be the one to defend this movie, because I remember watching this movie with my dad on TV when I was younger. I remember having a great time. And I know there's fans of this film. If you like it, to each their own. And that's fine if you do. But when you follow a great ending, like Halloween 4, with this, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, you get no respect from me. My God! My dogs know what I'm talking about. For those wondering, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, was a film made back in 1989. It was directed by this freaking jerk-off named Dominic Otherin Gerard. Now, Dominic Otherin Gerard, this is the same guy who directed Omen 4. Yeah, because Omen 4 is the perfect sequel to have a guy direct the Halloween sequel after the fantastic Halloween 4. I can't even talk because this sequel is really ticking me off. And that is how pissed off I am with this movie. I want to throw it out the window. I really want to do that. But I'm not going to do that because it's broken. But this movie ticks me off. It is a sequel that is a pure equivalent of arrogance. It is painful. It is one of those sequels that is what happens when all you care about is getting a huge profit. That is the arrogance angle that I see from this movie. Because this film got made because Halloween 4 was a huge hit. And it deserved it. Rightfully so. But that was probably because people were happy. Michael Myers was going to make his return. But besides that, it was a great movie. So while Halloween 4 was in theaters, Moustapha Akkad laid out the plans for this movie. And they rushed it into production. And originally written by Shem Bitterman. I don't know if he has... Yeah, he does have a credit in this. But he envisioned this movie as Jamie becoming the new Michael Myers. But this was rejected by Moustapha Akkad and Dominic Otherin Jackass, as I'm going to call him, who thought people wanted to see Michael Myers again. So Dominic rewrote the script and added elements of Michael having a more human side. And I know my friend Kyle, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan, when he did his review, he touched upon the fact that Michael Myers cried. And I'll get into that. Which there were a lot more problems than just that with this movie. And that scene. I'll get to it. But I want to say, Kyle, if you want anybody else to blame, other than the writers, you can put it on Dominic Otherin Gerard, who basically wanted that. Because this is what he said. This is what he wanted to do. He wanted to humanize Michael because he wanted the audience to try and see the evil side of Michael Myers as well as the good side so that we could sympathize with him. Who allowed this? Who said that is a fantastic idea? Go with that. Have they even watched a Halloween movie? Because that is not who Michael Myers is. And that isn't enough with the stupid decisions Dominic Otherin Jackass has made. Even Donald Pleasance and Daniela Harris were trying to get him to change his mind, but Moustapha Akkad and Dominic wouldn't listen. And they put stupid stuff in during the making of this film that even dumbfounded the people in production when the shooting started in May of 1989. And there were incidents on set, like at one point Don Shakes had his nose broken and almost got caught on fire. And as filming finished, the FPAA, because K&B did the effects for this movie, basically the FPAA producers who saw how bloody the movie is, they ordered the film to be cut so they could avoid the X rating. And the movie finished with a budget of $5 to $6 million. And the movie opened on October 13th behind Look Who's Talking, grossing only $5 million, much lower than over $6 million opening, and only lasted 3 weeks in theaters, and it grossed $11 million at the box office, way lower than what 4 got, and it's the lowest grossing film of the franchise. Much lower than Free, too. The movie also received negative reviews from critics. On Rotten Tomatoes is a low rating of 13%. Critics criticized the movie for rehashing old ideas that were present in the previous film. I think there's a lot more problems than the fact that it rehashes ideas from the previous movie. Such as James Kendrick of Q Network Film Desk. For most of the runtime, one wonders what is the purpose of this film outside of rehashing old slasher cliches. Have you even seen the bigger problem with this movie, James? I just want to know if you have. Christopher Noel of About.com said, "Weak Halloween entry maintains the status quo, no new developments." The audience side may have a 37%, but outside of Rotten Tomatoes, the fan base of Halloween has criticized this film for abandoning the setup of 4 and sticking to the route that the series is known for and taking it in the worst direction. And on IMDb, somehow this film has a 5.2. I don't know what I was thinking when I defended this film when I was little. Maybe it's because I had fun seeing it with my dad, so maybe I have some memories with this movie, but this movie sucks. It's unbelievable that the producers were this stupid and thought the best direction to take the series in was this. And I know there's some fans of this film. If you like it, that's fine. But this is my video, my opinion. This movie is a joke. And it's easy to see why this movie gets listed on so many worst sequels lists and so many worst slasher films lists. But I'll get into why I hate this movie with a passion. Because in order to get to that, we got to run through the basics before we get to the ranting. Basically, with the cast, you have Daniela Harris reprising her role from 4. She would go on to become a name in the horror industry. She was also in action films such as The Last Boy Scout, Marked for Death. She had a quick role in Urban Legend. She would be on that cartoon, The Wild Thornberrys. She was also in the movie and Rugrats Go Wild. You also got Donald Pleasance, may he rest in peace, reprising his role from 1, 2, and 4. He was also in The Great Escape. He had a quick role in The Thief and the Cobbler. Ellie Cornell also reprises her role for only a couple of minutes, and then she would have the displeasure of being in The House of the Dead, that stupid Uwe Boll movie. B.U. Starr reprising his role from 4. He was also in Flesh and Due South. And a bunch of other actresses I know nothing about, and I'm glad I don't. I know I was in trouble when I knew I was in trouble right when the movie started and the setup was shown to us. Because all of what you were hoping for at the end of Halloween 4, like Jamie becoming Micheal Myers, going around killing people, is completely destroyed because instead of that, we find out at the end of Halloween 4, when Michael was shot down the well and blown up, he survived because he fell into a river and he was saved by this hermit and his parrot in the woods, who since then has healed him up, and the next Halloween, he wakes up spontaneously with a new mask and kills the guy. But then we learn that year, Jamie, played by Daniela Harris, has become mute and has been put in psychiatric care, and we learned at the end of Halloween 4 that she only wounded her mother after stabbing her over the bathtub, which makes no sense. Because if you watch that scene at the end of 4, she was stabbed to death. And there's blood all over the bathtub and in the water. There was a lot of blood missing. It's not the whole, oh, she cut her hand. No, she's dead. There's no way she would survive that. She's dead. D-E-A-D. Dead. But no, it turns out she survived. And pretty much Ellie Cornell Rachel, I forgot her name, has been looking after her in the psychiatric care, and she's getting ready to go to a party at this barn with this girl Tina, played by Wendy Kaplan. And pretty much Michael comes back to town and starts killing everybody. And out of nowhere, Jamie suddenly stops being mute, and we learn she has a psychic connection with Michael Myers. And this gives Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, who's still going after him, the ability to use her to track down Michael. Will the group be able to stop Michael at his rampage for revenge, even though the revenge doesn't seem like much in this movie? Or will they meet the same fate as every other victim? Oh God, where do I even start with this movie? Everything wrong in this movie can be summed up within the story. And even my good friend Kyle, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan, gave this movie a beatdown of a lifetime. At the time watching, I still had that whole thing of like, you know what, I remember having a good time, so it's probably not that bad. But now it's easy to see why. Because starting off, let's ruin a great setup for a sequel that was set up so perfectly at the end of 4, because we're so afraid of stepping out of bounds, because 3 was so different, and everybody hated that film because it was so different. And not only let's use the ending of the last movie in a place where nobody wanted to see it go or wanted to see it done. Did anybody want this psychic angle from the last film to be used in this light? Because I sure as hell did not. Now granted, the other one did use that whole thing of her becoming psychically linked, but it was more interesting. It set up something unique for the series. And it would have been done well. Even Daniela Harris was excited about becoming the new Michael. And she was disappointed where she saw where the series went. And that's the biggest problem with this story. They went with the worst possible angle for a script that set itself up so perfectly for future sequels. And let's make the last film pointless by killing off particular characters and introducing characters we do not give tens of thousands of shits about. Because Rachel is killed off within the first couple minutes because Dominic's like, oh, I wanted to show anybody can get killed. Now I get that. And I can understand that way of thinking. But as somebody else said, do we need a movie to tell us life sucks? No! So screw you, Dominic for a jackass. You know how to deliver a sequel about as well as your frickin' direction. Because his direction is probably the worst I have seen from this movie. There's no flair to this movie. None of the energy present in Halloween 1 through 4 is present here. It doesn't even look like Halloween. It looks like every casual day you've seen in every other slasher film. They just set up Halloween yard standees that looks like they were bought for $2 at the local yard sale. And at night they just got a bunch of people to come in with costumes and act like idiots. And the way the death scenes are shot, the way they're done, and like the ideas for the death scenes themselves. Probably had to have different angles done with them to get the R rating. But what's on the screen, there's no sense of, oh, that's gotta hurt, and there's no sense of fear because they're shot so poorly. You never feel the sense of impactment, which is what a death scene needs to do. It's just a really lame direction. Even like at night, there's no like orange or in the area. It's all black and it's like, ugh. Just a really lame direction that is really riddled with lame locations. Hell, even the Myers house looks so different from the previous films. They don't even try to make it look like the other house. They make it look bigger because it's convenient for the story at the end. They look bigger. It has a basement. It's not white. It's black and brown this time. I mean, I'm like, what is going on? Why is the Myers house so different? Did the other one... I think the other one something happened to the other one. But why could they make it look like the original one? I don't get it. I think it's because something happened to the other house, so they were like, we gotta make another one. But that's no excuse to make it look different. They could have made it look the same. Because here it looks, I don't want to say it looks horrible because it's well built, but it doesn't relate to the story. It's just a weak direction with a weak story. I will give them credit. The Tita character, I didn't mind. I didn't mind the angle that she gives. It helped that she's smoking hot, too. And she sort of takes the reins of trying to save Jamie, even though she barely knows her. I thought that was a sweet angle. But she's not only doing this for her, but also her friend. But that angle I didn't mind. It's just the story is just bleh. Not much to it. Not much to the Halloween angle. It's just so boring. And the acting in this film is really bad too. -4. I'll say 4 of them do really good. Those being Daniela Harris, Donald Pleasance, Don Shanks, who plays Michael in this, Wendy Kaplan, and you know what I'll say, this BU star I think does fine. All 4 of them do fine. Daniela Harris still maintains that sympathetic, cute face she had in 4. It has more to do. Donald Pleasance also does a great job in this film, even though I don't like what they do with this character in this, because a lot of what he does really seem out of character, because even though he was so determined on finding Michael, he never projected his eagerness onto other people or forced them as bait to bring him in. Like, there's this scene in particular when he's talking with Jamie, who's crying her eyes out. He's like, why are you crying? Tell me now. And I'm like, Dr. Loomis, calm down. If that wasn't bad enough, when they're at the Myers house towards the end, he locks the door of the house to use Jamie and this other cop as bait to basically bring down Michael. That is so out of character for him. Like, why are you taking the character in this route? It's just really like, why would he do that? We never seen him done that before. Hell, in Halloween 2, before he burnt Michael to a crisp, he was like, Lori, get out of here. He didn't ask her to say and grab the match and burn herself. Like, it's so out of character. And it makes you not like him, which is not what I wanted. I guess I could say it's not all his fault, because he sort of like, on the movie, he was sort of like, this movie sucks too. And what he makes of the script, he does fine, but the choices the writers make for him are horrible. I put it up, like, there were 3 people. Like, honestly, I would have loved to see Shem Bitterman's script. If that was on screen, maybe this could have been a cool sequel. But I put more of the blame on Dominic Ultron Jackass, or no, his name is Gerard, and Michael Jacobs. They just ruin the film because they can't take it in other directions, and most of Ake too. I will say Don Shanks does fine as Michael. However, I don't like the mask, which Force Mask I was nice to, but this mask looks horrible. It looks phony, it looks fake, to the point that I wonder if they were even trying to make a good mask, or they just went shopping and bought a mask. Because that's what it looks like. It looks so plasticky, sticky, and very very rubbery. Just very bad looking mask. And they were originally going to have his face all scarred up and disfigured when he took off the mask. But they rejected the idea. I don't know why. Why? That could have been a cool idea. Like, show Michael's even more disfigured under the mask. I think that would have been an interesting twist. But he doesn't do a bad job acting-wise. Wendy Kaplan, who was going out with Greg Nicotero, who does the effects for this, she does what she can. I do like how towards the end she fights for Jamie, and I do feel she gets a little too much hate from people. So, that wasn't the biggest problem. Neither was Michael crying, which, yeah, that's there. I didn't really think too much of it. I was just sort of like, oh, he's crying, so he's a human side. Because as I said, there are other big problems that trample those problems to bits. Because the other cast members are horrible. Starting off, you have this couple with this one guy who I swear sometimes looks like a young Gary Busey, who's going out with this other girl, who I'll say she's smoking hot. I'll say that. But is a horrible actress. And you see at the end having sex at the barn, and the guy never takes off his pants, like some other guy said here. Basically, he was horrible, couldn't act for shit, and they're just there to be disposed of. You have this one dude who is obsessed with his car and pretty much does nothing and says nothing till he dies after Michael pretty much scratches his car and he tries to fight him. And there's also these two cops who the first time you see them, they have these out-of-place clown noises and spend the movie acting like retards on camera because Dominic loves Last House on the Left and let's homage the worst part of that movie with the two cops whose car broke down and they're trying to find a way to the woods to save the daughter. And I just saw Last House on the Left for the first time. I'm going to do that as a Screamfeast review. But that was even the worst part of the movie because they felt so out of place. That's all they're on screen for. It's to be stupid. There's no development with the characters. There's not a moment where you say, oh, that's what differentiates them from the teens. No, they're all on screen to be a homage, with scenes of them being dumbasses. I was left scratching my head thinking, this could have been cut. Like, literally. The film strips are wasted with these guys in it. Like, why are we wasting a Halloween film with these guys? They're just annoying. And then there's this random guy called the Man in Black who is in this trench coat and hat, this black trench coat and hat. You never see his face. And no, under the trench coat is not Tommy Lee Jones or Will Smith. He just shows up in a bus near the costume shop from 4 and wanders the city while Michael's out doing his murders. And apparently the filmmakers didn't even know what to do with this character. They just put him in for the hell of it. His character does nothing throughout the film to advance the story. He doesn't add any mystery. It's just a nothing character. And towards the end, he somehow has a Tommy gun, which I think he pulled out of his ass to basically take down some people. And it's just nothing. It's lame, the character. Just because you put him in a trench coat and hat doesn't mean he's mysterious. Just because we don't know who he is doesn't mean he's mysterious. Get that through your head. But the worst thing this film does is it ruins the kills. Because the kills of this movie are horrible. No. Not bad in the special effects. I'll say that. The effects look fine. Because K and B are good. And they probably would have been better if the MPA weren't so gung-ho about editing movies. Because K and B do fine with their effects. I've seen in other films. In fact, there's another film from this year that they worked on that I think utilizes the gore and their effects much better than this film. But how they are on screen, the kills are really lame. Like Ellie Cornell, she just gets scissors to the chest, which is even more insulting enough that they were going to kill her off in the first place. And another guy gets and that car guy I was telling you about, the boyfriend of Wendy Kaplan, he gets a spiked garden hoe in his head. The kills are lacking from 4, even 2, where you had like the hammer to the head, a hot tub to burn somebody's face off. Even at 4, like the shotgun shoved through somebody, or the throat getting ripped out, or there was some damn good kills in number 4. Or I don't necessarily blame K and B. I blame the way they were written. And they could have stepped up, especially with K and B, because the same year we had Intruder they worked on. And the effects by them those are what Halloween 4 should have been. The effects in that film are amazing. It's probably one of the goriest slashers I've ever seen. This isn't even close to that. Man, and the final's lame. The final is lame. I won't spoil what it is, because you guys might want to see the film, but by God, this is what happens Vince, when you give a story that is fantastic with a fantastic ending that sets it up perfectly, and you're so scared to step out of bounds that you feel like it needs to be the same, otherwise people won't go see it. And it demolishes it. It demolishes it and expects us to believe it. I'm not believing it. And it's just so I can't even think of words. I don't want to say it's mean-spirited because the other ones are mean-spirited, but it's just bad. It's just a bad sequel. It's a sequel that I see why is so horrible now when I watch it. It's right up there with Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. It's one of the worst sequels ever made in my mind. Candyman 3 is a piece of shit as well, and this is up there with it. And I never even thought I'd be ranting on this film. I just thought I'd see it. I'd be like, yeah, I liked it for what it was. But not only does it show how rushed it is after 4, especially with Candyman 3, that looks even more rushed. Even in that at like 4 years after Candyman Farewell to the Flesh. But it also shows how much is lacking. A few good things, maybe here and there, but it's not enough to save the movie. It really isn't. Because Dominic Othran Jerkoff does not... that's another place. I mean, Dominic Othran Jackass is what I meant to say. But he does not know how to direct. He does not know the franchise. He really does not care about the characters or anything. It does, and I doubt he even knew Halloween. I doubt he even watched the movies. I don't want to break the disc because I want to keep this for the collection. I know one guy who threw this across the room and was like, I don't give a heck if that gets scratched, but this movie is just horrible. I can't believe that they even let this get made. Screw you, Most of My Arcade, for giving such a horrible sequel, not letting Shep Bitterman go give his script. Just because it's the same doesn't mean it's gonna be good. And that's what you should have realized. And you and Dominic Othran Jerkoff could go make out with each other, go do what you want, but you guys suck. I should say they suck. I don't want to be that harsh or cruel, but to think that this is better is stupid. I'm dumbfounded. I'm saying everything that needs to be said. To think this is smart, to think it's better than 4, I don't get it. Because 4 has a lot going for it. I don't think it even gets the respect it deserves for. Because a lot of people seem to categorize it as another Halloween sequel. It's much better than this. But when it comes down to it, I give Halloween 5, The Revenge of Micheal Myers, even though it's not technically a revenge, because he does nothing to get revenge, a 3 out of 10. It deserves it. With every stinking bone in my body, this movie is horrible. It should have not have been made in this way. They should have thrown everything out and went with what they wanted in the original. This is not what I wanted. And shame on you both, Moustapha Akkad and Dominic Othran Gerard. And please, never direct again. I'm sorry to say, but you damaged the series after this. And after this, we got Halloween, The Curse of Micheal Myers. I'll talk about that sometime in the future, but because after this, I need a break. But yeah, if you want to see it, that's fine. If you want to see Halloween 5 and see it for everything and see it for the collection, that's fine. Just don't respect a masterpiece. But that's my review for Halloween 5, The Revenge of Micheal Myers' first Screamfeast episode. And next time, I'm going to start things off better with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've been wanting to review this for a while, but yeah, I'll give a review on this one. And then I'm going to do a review on Venom, directed by Jim Gillespie. and then I'm gonna do a review on the hills on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, then The Hills Have Eyes, and then Leatherface. It'll go from there. I'm gonna jump between the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series and other movies because I'm gonna do the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm gonna do 2, Leatherface, The Next Generation, and the remake. Those 5 movies I'm gonna do. But I'm also gonna talk about movies in the middle, such as The Fog. They want to talk about that. The Hills Have Eyes, which I got over there, and a couple other films. I'll get to them later, but I'll see you guys later. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers. Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it like I did? Is there anybody who are fans of this and think it's their favorite? Let me know in the comments below. What's your favorite Halloween so far? We should do rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go do whatever to get that movie out of my head and hope we're good and hope Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, isn't as bad.